Assalamu alaikum and greetings to all panels, participants, and fellow viewers of International Conference on Communication, Management and Humanities organized by AIT Academy. I am Nur Atika binti Roslan from the Department of General Studies, Polytechnic MERLIMAU Malacca, and today I'll be presenting my own research entitled Need Analysis of Engineering Students Towards Technical English 1 course at Polytechnic MERLIMAU Malacca. So let's talk about the role of English proficiency in the engineering field. It's not just about doing well in your studies, but also about boosting your career. In fact, English is crucial in engineering because it helps with collaborating across international teams and using English language technical resources. Now, this is where technical English courses come into play. These courses are designed to help the students improve their language skills, which are vital for things like writing technical documents, giving oral presentations, and having effective workplace communication. In many countries, including Malaysia, this course is a part of the early stages of the engineering curriculum, especially in technical and vocational education and training TVET programs. Although technical English is designed to equip engineering students with the necessary language skills, there is still limited evidence to show that the course content truly matches the communication demands students face in both academic and technical settings. Without a clear understanding of these needs, instructors may find it difficult to develop effective teaching strategies and materials, which could lead to students feeling disengaged and underperforming. English for Specific Purposes, or ESP, is all about teaching language that fits the specific needs of learners in their jobs or studies. For engineers, this means technical English focusing on special vocabulary, formal writing, and professional ways of communicating. According to Highland, ESP should be based on the real tasks students will do and the specific communities they will work in. For engineering students, this means learning how to write lab reports, give presentations, and understand technical manuals. Moving on to the next part of the literature review under the context of language needs of engineering students. Understanding what language skills engineering students need is really important for creating useful English courses. This process, according to Bastard, called needs analysis, helps us figure out the skills students must learn to do well in school and at work. Now, my last part of literature review will be under the context of challenges in teaching technical English. Even though technical English is very important, teachers face some challenges, especially in Malaysian polytechnics. One big problem discovered by Shamsuddin and Sanmugam is that many English lecturers don't have enough training in engineering topics, so it's hard for them to teach technical content well. Also, the fixed and strict syllabus makes it hard to adjust lessons to what students really need. Let's take a look at what this study is trying to find out. First, research question 1: what specific English skills do engineering students need when taking the Technical English 1 course? Research question 2: what challenges do these students face while learning the course? Research question 3: what are their thoughts or perceptions about the course? Now, based on these questions, here are the research objectives. Objective 1: to find out what English skills engineering students actually need in this course. Objective 2: to look into the difficulties they face while learning. And lastly, Objective 3: to understand how they feel about the course in overall. All right, now let's move on to the research design and methodology of this study. First, for the research design, we use both quantitative and qualitative approach. This allowed us to collect numbers and statistics as well as understand opinions and experiences. Next, let's look at the sample size. We had 116 engineering students from semester 1. These students came from two departments, mechanical engineering and civil engineering. For the data collection, we use two tools: an online questionnaire using Google Forms and documentation in the form of students' final continuous assessment results. Moving on to measurement, the questionnaire was adapted from Al Samadi's study in 2017. It had 19 items using a 4-point Likert scale where students rated their experience from 1 to 4, with 1 being weak or very difficult, and 4 being very good or not difficult at all. We also included two closed ended and two open ended questions to get more detailed feedback. Finally, for data analysis, we use SPSS version 25 as a statistical software. The main technique used was a descriptive statistics such as mean, standard deviation, minimum, and maximum scores. Let's take a quick look at the students' English proficiency levels based on their continuous assessment results. Out of 116 students, the majority, about 65%, are at the upper intermediate level. This means most students already have a solid understanding of English and can handle more complex tasks, although they might still need some support. We also have a good number of students at the intermediate, which is 17%, and advanced 15% levels. So overall, quite a few students are doing well or are on their way to becoming more proficient. Only 4 students are at the elementary level, which shows just a small group may need extra help with the basics. Interestingly, there are no students at the very top mastery or at the very bottom beginner level. This tells us that while no one is near native level, everyone does have at least some foundation in English. So, in summary, most students are in the mid to upper range of English proficiency. Now, let's look at how students rated their own English skills across 6 areas using a scale from 1 to 4, with 1 being weak and 4 being very good. First off, listening came out on top with the highest average score of 3.60. This shows that most students feel confident understanding spoken English, probably thanks to regular exposure through lectures, videos, or daily conversation. Speaking also scored fairly well with a mean of 3.32. So students are generally comfortable in speaking, although the highest standard deviation tells us there is some variation, some are more confident than the others. Reading and vocabulary came out around 3.0, which is right at the good level. That means most students can read and understand English text and have a decent grasp of vocabulary. Now, when it comes to grammar, the average drops to 2.78, so just below good. This suggests that grammar might still be a bit of challenge for some. Finally, writing is the lowest rated skill at 2.46. So many students find writing in English more difficult, maybe because it involves organizing ideas, using correct grammar, and choosing the right words. In short, students feel stronger in understanding English, like listening and reading, than producing it, especially writing. Moving on, we are now looking at the data under Research Objective 2 to examine the challenges faced by the engineering students. In this part, students rated the difficulty of different English tasks in 3 main topics using a scale where 1 means very difficult and 4 means not difficult at all. First up, under topic 1, communication at the workplace, these involve group discussions. Students found things like taking turns and sharing opinions to be okay, but when it came to explaining safety and health issues, it got a bit tougher. Tells us they might need more support with vocabulary and how to explain technical stuff clearly. Next, on topic 2, describing engineering products. This was all about assignments and presentations. Students were quite confident here, especially when using visual aids and presenting in groups. But they still found things like comparing features and using signposting language a bit tricky. Finally, under topic 3, inquiries, this one stood out the most. It involved simulations where students practice asking and answering questions about products. And guess what? They felt super confident. It seems like the role play and practical context really helped them feel more comfortable using English in real life situations. Based on Table 1.5, students were asked whether the subject is related to their engineering field, and a large majority, 85.3% of students, believe that Technical English 1 is relevant to their engineering studies. Only 14.7% do not see a direct connection. Next, students were asked about what are other engineering subjects that they think is related to Technical English 1, and OSHA, or Occupational Safety and Health Administration, is the most frequently mentioned subject, which is 48%, showing that students see a strong link between English communication skills and workplace safety topics. Besides that, workshop technology, 35%, and construction building materials, 16%, are also seen as relevant, suggesting that Technical English 1 supports understanding and communication in practical, hands on engineering contexts. As for Table 1.7, let's talk about what students had to say about the Technical English 1 course. First, the good news, most students, about 69%, were really happy with how the lecturer taught the subject. So, overall, there is a strong satisfaction with the teaching approach. But there were also some useful suggestions. Around 10% said that some of the equipment needed for simulation tasks was hard to find. This tells us that the simulation topics might need to be adjusted or localized a bit. A few students, about 11% combined, said they would appreciate simpler English or more detailed explanations. So, some extra support for those with lower proficiency could go a long way. About 8% of students asked for more games and quizzes. Clearly, they enjoy interactive learning, and adding more fun elements could keep them more engaged. Also, one or two students mentioned that the safety and health topics were quite hard, and that matches what we saw earlier in Table 1.4, so it's a consistent concern. Finally, the conclusion. Here's what we found overall. Most engineering students at Polytechnic Merlimau are doing quite well with English. About 65% are at the upper intermediate level, and no one is at the beginner or mastery level. So they are not complete beginners, but they are also not fully fluent yet. When we look closer at their skills, students felt most confident with listening, which makes sense since they are often exposed to spoken English, but they struggle the most with writing. Grammar was also a bit of challenge. When we look at how students perform on specific tasks, here's what stood out. They found simulation tasks, like making inquiries, to be the easiest. This shows that interactive and hands on activities really work for them. On the other hand, workplace communication tasks, especially about safety and health, were more challenging. This tells us that students need extra help with technical vocabulary and how to explain things more clearly. Also, most students, about 85%, say that Technical English 1 is relevant to their field. They connected it mostly with subjects like OSHA, workshop technology, and construction materials. So, this really supports the idea that the course should be closely tied to what they are learning in engineering to keep it useful and interesting. So, what did students think about the course overall? Well, 69% of them were really happy with how it was taught, which is great. But they also gave us some helpful suggestions. Some asked for simpler English usage by the lecturers, others wanted more games and interactive activities, and a few mentioned that some simulation topics were a bit too difficult or unrealistic. Overall, The feedback confirms that Technical English 1 is a valuable course, but it also shows that we can make it even better by focusing more on writing, technical vocabulary, and making sure the content is clear and easy to follow. If we continue tailoring the course to fit their language levels and engineering background, we can better prepare them for both their studies and future jobs. Based on everything we found, here are a few ways we can make the course even better. First, we need to focus more on grammar and writing, especially things like how to write technical reports and build clear sentences. Lecturers should also try to use simple and clear English, especially when explaining complex and technical stuff. When it comes to safety and health topics, let's try to break them down into smaller parts or use real life examples to make them easier to understand. Adding games and fun tools like Kahoot, quizzes, or even role play activities can really boost engagement. We should also bring in real engineering materials like manuals or real workplace scenarios so students can see how English works in the real world. And finally, since students are at different levels, it is important to give tasks that are just right for everyone, some more advanced, some more basic. That way, everyone gets the support they need.